It's Rick and Sasha with George Willborn. And guys, you know the election is only 8 days away.
Yep. And we need you guys to get out there and vote.
We need to count every head.
Yes,
we need to count every head.
Please.
And to make sure you know everything about voting and getting your head counted, we've got Tappan Vickery from HeadCount.org. Welcome to the show.
Hey, sweetie.
Hi. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Well, let me just say you have 2 decades of nonprofit experience and working in civic engagement, environment, and social justice. So I know you know everything about this voting. We've been getting emails, Tappan, and people asking specific questions. Can you first tell us what is HeadCount.org?
So HeadCount got started in 2004 as a voter registration organization where we tried to find intersections of culture and music, really register voters at concerts and music festivals. And we've grown since then to also become a voter information hub. So, you know, it's one thing to register the voter. It's the next thing to make sure that they have everything they need to get through the election and make sure they get to the polls. So HeadCount.org serves the purpose of our voter information hub, where we provide information for all the states in D.C. in this year and an enhanced level of information on vote by mail. We've never honestly provided this much detail on vote by mail before, but we've never needed to before.
All right, let's talk about the mail-in voting because people still have a lot of questions about it. Number one, is it too late to return my ballot by mail at this particular date?
I know the postal workers are doing everything they can to prioritize election mail, but there is a limit to what they can do. There are things that are outside of their control. And for that reason, I really believe at this point you should return your ballot in person if you can. And that means, depending on where you are, it could be a drop box. It could be your county or municipal elections office. You might be able to drop it at an early voting site. Usually you don't have to stand in the same line. But we have all of that information at headcount.org. And then you go to early and absentee voting and pick your state, and it will tell you everywhere where you can drop your ballot off. Now, the only state, I got to throw this in there because they always get mad at me if I don't, the only state where you cannot deliver your ballot in person is the state of Tennessee.
So you young kids out there, she said put it in the Dropbox. I know you guys are young. You guys are techie. She does not mean upload it to Dropbox.
No. You gotta
That's absolutely right. Make sure
she
you're
just
putting it into an official Dropbox. And actually, in the state of California, people are putting up fake Dropboxes. So you need to make sure that you are going to your state's website and seeing where the Dropbox locations are.
Right.
When we link to all of that, so we make it really easy for you. And so you're going to an official Dropbox, and they are monitored. They normally have cameras on them. There are all kinds of laws about what makes it official.
Hey, listen, with only a few days left to vote, we're talking to Tappan Vickery from HeadCount.org. She's got more info for us. Stick around, y'all. It's Rick and Sasha with George Willborn. It's Rick and Sasha with George Willborn. We're talking to Tappan Vickery from HeadCount.org. You guys serve over 3 million people annually. I'm just impressed with that. Jeez, that's so
Well, you know, that is what we do annually, but this year I've already doubled that.
Wow.
So it's been really amazing. We've exceeded all of our goals, and we're not even on election week yet.
Wow.
And a lot of that is because there have been so many changing laws. Like, you could have voted for, never missed an election, you know, and think you know everything about voting, and something is probably different in your state this year because of how many laws have been changed. And because of that, we've been on our toes and trying to make sure that we're getting the best and most up-to-date information out to everybody.
Do you think this is going to be the wave of the future, even after we get out of the pandemic, that more people will start voting this way?
Yeah, I do. Before COVID hit, there's a bipartisan election commission that makes recommendations. And the recommendation of that commission was that we should transition to vote by mail nationwide. And the reason for that is that in the states that primarily use vote by mail, they have much higher turnout, and there's literally next to no instance of fraud. Over 20 years and 250 million ballots cast nationwide, we only had 150 instances of voter fraud by mail.
Wow.
It's literally more likely that you will get struck by lightning than have voter fraud. And so, you know, we know that it's secure, it increases turnout, and it makes it much more accessible for people people to vote. So I do believe it's the wave of the future if we can actually care about the voters. Accessibility to being able to vote and having different options and making it secure and sound is about people being heard. And so we have to have policies that are in the interest of the voters for those things to move forward.
We had an email that came in from Sharon, and she was really confused about the early voting. So I want to talk about that. She wanted to know, one, could anyone early vote? And does she have to go to a specific location, or can she go anywhere where she lives to vote?
In every state except for Mississippi, you can vote early without an excuse. So Mississippi, you have to have an excuse to take advantage of early voting. In some states, like Georgia, Florida, other states have like what's called traditional early voting. And those states are going to have dates where you can go to satellite locations that are not your county or municipal election office. And anyone can go to any site in their county. Now, New York is an exception to that. They actually are relatively new to early voting, and you have assigned options for early voting polling sites. But usually, the majority of the world, you can go to any site in your county. Now, some states, you're only allowed to go to your county elections office, and then you vote there in your elections office, but it's still an option. So everywhere except for Mississippi, it's an option for anyone who wants to do it, and many states have additional dates and locations. All of that information is, again, at headcount.org. All you have to do is pick your state, and we will link you out to all of your options.
All right, it's Tappan Vickery. Tappan, thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Oh, thank you, guys. I hope you have a great day.
You too.
You too.